Lord Krishna says, this knowledge was being passed in a tradition from master to disciple to master to disciple. It came from the perfect source that was God and kept getting passed down perfectly. So it was accessible as a perfect source of knowledge. This is descending knowledge. Descending knowledge is so beautiful. If you get the proper source from where you can get this knowledge, you can access the truth on day one itself. There is no learning, no struggle required. In contrast to that is ascending knowledge. This is the scientific methodology of getting knowledge, where you say, I know this much today, then tomorrow I know this much, day after tomorrow I know this much. That is how science has been pushing forth the frontiers of human knowledge through discovery. However, ascending process of knowledge has its limitations. We don't know what is considered true today will be considered true after 50 years as well or not. Because a new discovery overturns the previous theories. Like, for example, in the time of the Greeks, the atoms were considered the tiniest indivisible particles of nature. You could not go smaller than the atom. And then Rutherford, he passed alpha particles through matter, and he got the ticks on the other side with the Geiger counter. And he proved that 99.99% of matter is empty space. And that is then how the periodic table got created. However, that periodic table got changed subsequently. And people's understanding of matter, now that was a simplified understanding, electron, proton, neutron. And then later on they came further and discovered, Niels Bohr and company, that matter at the subatomic level is not what we think of it to be in classical physics. It has got a dual particle and wave nature. And at any time you cannot predict whether it's particle or wave. If you do, then you cannot predict its location. That was Heisenberg's principle of uncertainty. So when Einstein heard this, 15 years ago, he had propounded his equation, E is equal to mc square, in the year 1905. And the 1920s, Niels Bohr and these quantum physicists, they came up with a new theory. Einstein said, my every attempt to reconcile the new kind of physics with our classical understanding has failed. It is as if the ground is being pulled from under our feet with nothing to fall back upon. So the ascending process of knowledge is fine. But firstly, it takes so long. Do we have the time to wait 1,000 years before knowledge reaches that point? And if we go by today's judgments, we don't know whether people's perspectives are correct or not. One anthropologist went to Africa. He was working with the pygmies in Congo. And he took this pygmy called Kenge and got him out. Now they live in dense forests where they never see the horizon. So he remembers taking him out of the forest. And there on the flat land, some buffaloes were there in a distance. The pygmy asked, what kind of insects are those? The anthropologist said, they are buffaloes. The pygmy said, are you making fun of me? How can they be buffaloes? They look like insects. And that is when the anthropologist realized, this pygmy has never seen long distance. So what we assume to be natural, that when you see objects from far they seem small, is a complete revelation to him. Just because we see an ungulate from far, we will not think it to be an insect. But the pygmy has his own perspective. So we all have our relative perspectives through which we see the world. Now Einstein, of course, in his time was recognized as a genius. But very few people know he almost lost that title to a horse called Clever Hans. In the year 1891, a gentleman in Germany called Wilhelm van Osten, he trained his stallion, educated him so that the stallion could answer the questions of human beings. Like, for example, if you ask the horse, and the horse was called Clever Hans, you ask him, what is 3 plus 4? And the horse would answer 7. Not with his mouth. The moment the question was over, the horse would start tapping its hoof. And it would stop when the answer was complete. So that caused such a stir all over Berlin. People were shocked. There were public performances of Clever Hans. And this continued for 13 years. Of course, he did not get all answers right, but he knew far more than any other creature on 4 legs did. So then one professor in the Berlin Psychological Institute, he sent his assistant called Oscar Funkst to go and check it out. And Oscar Funkst observed something strange, that if Mr. Austen, the horse trainer, did not know the answer to the question, then the horse also did not know the answer to the question. And if this trainer was behind the horse, then the horse did not know the answer to the question. So slowly, he discovered that horse was actually not understanding what Wilhelm van Osten was saying. But the moment Wilhelm van Osten spoke a question, he used to bend a little. And the horse used to observe that and would start tapping. And whenever the answer was complete, unconsciously, he would straighten up and the horse would stop. The deception was so subtle, it was not intentional. Austen was not a cheat. And the horse was only observing its master's behavior and responding to it. So this is the subjective way in which we all look at the world. Now you may laugh at Clever Hans, but all of us are stuck in our little paradigms. And if we wish to know the absolute truth, then the ascending process of knowledge is insufficient. Every year, thousands of self-help books get published in the market. How to think positive, how to give up negative, etc. They are all good, they are all useful. But how do you know they are not free from error? On the other hand, if you adopt the descending process of knowledge, the problem gets solved. How did you learn physics? You went to a teacher who knew, and to the textbooks that were written by the teachers. So on day one itself, you access proper knowledge and started reading it. So Lord Krishna says that this knowledge which I gave to Brahma and I gave to the sun god, and it started getting passed down. But the problem arose that with time it started getting corrupted, the parampara. Why? The guru was giving good knowledge, but the disciple was understanding as per his intellect. There was a tree, and some bird was sitting on the tree, and some people below. Now the bird was saying something in its own language, and the people below started contemplating and discussing what is the bird saying. One said, it is saying he was a trader. He said, listen carefully. The bird is saying, Sont mirch adrak, Sont mirch adrak, Sont mirch adrak. The second said, you are mistaken. Listen again. He was a wrestler. He said, it is saying, Dan baithak kasrat, Dan baithak kasrat, Dan baithak kasrat. Third was a devotee of Lord Ram. He said, listen again. It is saying, Ram Sita Dashrath, Ram Sita Dashrath, Ram Sita Dashrath. Now what the bird was saying, the bird alone knew. But everybody interpreted as per their own nature. Munde munde matir bhinna tunde tunde saraswati. So likewise, Lord Krishna says that the parampara got corrupted. So I have again come and I am re-establishing it, Arjun. So God can either take avatar and re-establish it, or He can do it through His saints, the Guru. So we have here the knowledge that Lord Krishna gave to Arjun, and we are understanding it through a descended saint, Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj, who was a descended saint who received the title of the fifth original Jagadguru in Indian history and the Jagadguru Tam. So, the supreme spiritual personality in the last few hundred years, the knowledge he gave, it is through the light of that knowledge that we are accessing the divine verses of the Bhagavad Gita.